Welcome back to EAFC Gameplay Analysis. We've got Mustafa back for another session. And Mustafa, if you guys have been following along for a while, he's been with us for the past few months. And he's gone up and down all around. He's gotten up to, what's the highest we got? Because the last time we were playing, we were starting to play pretty high level. So we're getting into like top of D2, D1-ish,
Yeah.
near that. Okay, so
D2, yeah.
Okay, so in what we've been focusing on is really attacking that center back and CDM position, and managing like getting these guys out while being able to attack that space, and so we're trying to create that 1v1 angle. Is that kind of where we left off, and trying to utilize some fakes and try to utilize some of that game of wit-esque next step? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's hop in. So, just curious, why did you choose to not make this play to R9 right here and pull him back?
I try to. I have a problem with my team. You know, the supporting run for the R9 is not well as I guess. That's why I want to involve my cam with the playing. This is the idea.
Sure. The one thing I want to just try to focus on is when you have an opportunity to hit this position and potentially create a 1v1, I want you to take that. But because what's going to happen is this team is going to absolutely try to pinch here, and then you might actually create space out wide for like Jarzinho. But I just want you to see this and just try to take that position, and then you can also take that as well. So like you can have this position, and then he's going to be he's not really going to know what you're going to try to do from there. And so you can try to hold on to this because there's a lot of space here. You can hold on to the ball in this position and then break and then pull out. At the beginning of the games, this is a very common thing. You're going to see this fullback come up at you. And so when that happens, you play that here, you run here, and then you can try to work this position right here. So this is very common. And this is actually an attack strategy I actually try to focus on, is actually attacking these fullbacks right off the bat. But anyways. And so you actually get a good position anyway right here. See if you take the fullback. Good. Patience. Good. Here's the rotation. It's all right. So so when I see this, where am I wanting to attack? If we can get there quick,
I will get back to my CDM and then try to find another. Another.
We're gonna
side.
try to get there. Now, there's two ways to really try to go through here. Now, if you go like this, what's the likelihood that we're going to be able to hit them without this rotation?
Yeah.
What's the likelihood that we're going to be able to get to the pass from here to here without the defenders moving?
I think by using the R2 pass.
Yeah,
R1X pass.
Sure, but the likelihood is actually relatively thin, right? Because if we make this pass this way, they're going to be able to shift and see how it doesn't really work. So this is where I believe we can improve your speed of play and improve some of that game of wit. So the faster route is going to be like this, right? But we can't.
Yeah.
We can't directly do that, correct?
Yeah.
So what do we need to do in order to get that lane to open? And this is what the pro scene does all the time. This is the next level of step movement. This is the proper coaching way to play that without pass. So that's the passive way, right? Now,
okay.
The difference between passive and aggressive is typically a base of time, right? And risk, right? So you have like a time factor and a risk factor. And so as you go like down in time, your risk goes up, right? So as risk goes up, time like dwindles, right? So the less time you have, the more risk it is. So what I'm trying to say is which way is more risky? It's going to be clearly this pass. But what do we need to do in order to make this pass happen?
To get rid of his player
Right.
between me and my teammate.
So this is where we actually are going to activate. Now, what do you think he's wanting to defend? There's 3 lanes I always talk about. 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
And so do you think he's sorry?
Yeah.
Do you think he's thinking this right now?
No.
He's probably worried about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens if we take like a step this way and we get him to shift right here? We like get him to lock on, and then we try to do something and then just try to see that space. And so this is where I still don't think you're going to be able to get this pass, but if he drops low enough, we're going to try to take this lane. If you get this lane, you can see the difference here. The difference between this position and this position is significant when it comes to avoiding this player here. And so depending on if this player shifts or not, if he drops down, then this is going to rotate and then we hit this like that, right? But ultimately what I'm trying to show you is if you get him, he's going to open up this space where that other center mid should be right here, and that's where we're going to hit. And so this is breaking down essentially my own defense. Because if you think about it, what does my defense usually look like? My defense is going to look like this.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm going to shift into one of these positions like that. But if you ultimately get me to pull this position high, what's going to open up is this attacking lane. Or this lane, depending on it. Now, the challenge and the risk, but the challenge is that you're taking a huge risk. So if I do pull this defender over like this or like that, this risk is extremely high. And so you'll see me defend this way, and this is what I call the L defense, like an L shape, right? They're front loading this side. We need to attack that space. So let's see what happens. And you get into that space and you end up pulling this out. So let's see if this happens. You see how it's without purpose. Oh, very nice. That's a very nice play. Very nice play. I'm not so like, I mean, this is technically a goal. If we just shot at the right angle. But it feels like, so this is the difference in division in elite gameplay. You're not going to get this though. And so I want us to be a little bit like, you're not going to get him charging like that. You'll get him to switch off and he'll be right here. And then he's going to manage this location and this location. And so he's going to manage that space. So he's going to drop. That's going to, and so if you see, we get right here and then he pulls this one up too. And so this you might be able to get. And so then he's going to pinch like that. That's what I would do is right here. You know what? Over the top with long ball plus, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. I didn't recognize yet. Who is this?
Carlos Alberto.
Okay. I'm good with that. And then we get the right touch, but our shot angle is this way. So we just miss. Yeah.
I'm still practicing on precision shots.
Yeah, Mustafa, this is fantastic. This is very high level. The only thing is that we really are crutching like their position. And so it's nothing crazy. It's static play, but it's extremely mechanical static play. So I'm good with that. So if you are going to have static play, be extremely mechanical, be efficient. You were efficient there. So I'm actually very impressed with that movement. Very nice. This rotates. We can't just rip a shot. You have an opportunity here. This is where if we get right here, I want you to do that like, I want you to do like a fake shot, that fake shot cut. Are you familiar with the fake shot cut I talk about? I think, you know, with Jorginho, it's going to look more like this. Like that. Boom. Boom. That cut. Right there. You hit that cut, and you're going to be able to get into a better spot there, and then you're going to get a shooting finish position. And if he actually steps, then you can play it, and then ultimately you're going to have this shot from Dino here. But still very nice. rotational play. Let's see what happens. Center back steps. You have the open space. Can we get there? No, but this is pretty good gameplay. This is very good gameplay. I'm very impressed with your ability to continue to hold possession through this. So like right here, there's the break. This is where we need to turn. You turn, you get the play, perfect. And now we're in this is zone. So this is the only thing I think we should have done is hit this and then try to get Dino. And so the timing associated is a little bit weird. This is okay. So I don't like to teach over the top. But you're in a position that if you see your center back really push like this, this is where you can double dink, you can double tap triangle here, and you're gonna break. But if you hit over the top at a specific time, like he holds you down, so you're actually it's not gonna work on this. But just as you went over long ball plus, if he really is hard stepping like this, I'm okay with you going over the top just a bit, but you have to time it perfectly. And so it has to be like right now. And so when that happens, then there's like an animation where it like holds the rundown. But honestly, I'm actually good with the way you played this. I'm actually good with the way you played it. The shot is just a tough angle. So I'm actually like your efficiency has significantly increased. And so now you're holding the ball into possessions. Your speed of play is increased. So like this position.
I'm trying to get the tempo as you. Get the rhythm as you mentioned. You mentioned me last time.
Yeah, you're getting it. And like even like right here, this is not something that you would do in the past. Is take Ferdinand and make a pass right first time. And get that pass like this. That's not something like a couple weeks, but then we force it, right?
Yeah.
But this is where the adjustment. But like even just seeing you take this into a tough, complex position and then attacking that zone, that's not something that you were really comfortable with, a couple weeks ago. And so, I mean, dogs are fighting back there, okay, this is a little bit high. That's all right. And so we need to like press like this. Good. So you see the break of pressure line? So when we're pressing, we just want to really cut out these lanes. And so now that you've made it a tough decision there for like Pele, or for him to pass through Pele, you're fine. Like this is an okay run. This is okay position. This is okay. Now we need to start dragging this way. Him making this pass through here is a little bit dangerous. So I'd rather defend like the width and this movement. So now that it's breaking out, I would step like this backwards. And the reason why I would step like this backwards is because you may not be able to get Ronaldinho over, but you are going to be able to get Pele to like transition into this space. And then if they break, he's going to break to this whole side. He's going to break this way, and he only has one outlet. So instead of playing with everybody. So this is how I see the press structure. So that's multiplayer switching, and I don't think we've covered too much of that. But it's extremely methodical, and it's extremely like algorithmic. But basically, what you want to do is you want to cover every passing lane that you possibly can. And this is where those crosshairs, I actually developed the crosshair strategy, is basically you need to cover all these lanes when we're pressing at the same time. And so sometimes you're not going to be able to press on two positions. So what you want to do is you want to step right into the middle of these zones, if that makes sense. And so if he's going to pass it like here, then we can cut here. But if he's going to pass it here, then we're going to like step like that. So it's like that kind of movement. If you're following me on this is the press style. Yeah. And so like this is okay. This is okay. Now we need to step here and we need to step there. You see the difference? Boom. And so now we need to step like that. And
I
so,
think I need to improve this point.
yeah,
I
it's
think
tough. It's really
I'm
tough.
still, yeah.
Really, really tough. And so this is coming from like, uh, so this is how I want you to play. Okay. This is to improve this. Once they break this line, I don't want you to press here. So this is kind of how I like to watch. This is kind of actually how I. So this is why I like watching Liverpool play right now, is because what you'll see the way they play from like this way up, they're very, very aggressive. The second they break this line, they're extremely passive, and that's how I like to play. And if the Euro, Italy won the Euro in like what 2022 or what was it? And the way they played, that team played extremely aggressive front loaded, extremely passive back. And then if you watch Real Madrid, did they win the champion or when did they win the champ? Did they win last year or the year prior? I forget. But basically, they played in a wall back here against Man City, but they played extremely aggressive as the play transitioned. And that is actually almost the direct correlation of how I actually approach this. And so if you look at this position, you have to be able to recognize when your press is broken. And that's where I originally created the break point. So if you follow me. And so the definitions of the way we've been coaching for the last, 6 months, the concept, the underlying idea behind all of these concepts almost stimulate from pressing. Almost everything I teach stimulates from my understanding of pressing. And the reason why is because pressing at a high level is extremely complicated, but it's simple underlining. It's like 100 different simple things that you need to do at the same time to master pressing. It has to do with game of width, it has to be a little speed mechanics, and you have to be aware of where the passing lanes are. So like in this scenario, we need to start prep. I would start coming back like this, like that, right? And so anyways, let me just run through here, but I want you to recognize the break point. They're still in a press position. Do you see this? Now they're in a break. Yeah. They're in a break now. Why are they in a break? I want you to be able to tell me this.
Because he want to re-rotate himself in order to give a pass to in the front. That's why, because he is in front of the sideline, he want to rotate himself in order to get a right passing lane.
So which who do you think he's passing to? Because I don't want to give it away.
By this position, he will give it to the nearest teammate, or yeah. I think he will pass to 3. Yeah.
3.
3, yeah.
It's going to be 5.
5, but it is hard to get this pass because his angle, his vision is not actually is not seen this way. Okay. Till he will rotate.
Right. And so this is part of the pressing strategy though. So like the idea is that now it's not now. So what we talked about, the balance, right? The balance of like being passive and aggressive, right? So when you're pressing, are you on the passive side or are you on the aggressive side?
I think I'm an aggressive side.
Exactly.
Because I want to get the ball, yeah.
Okay. And so when we think of passive and aggressive, which side do you think is more reactionary, passive or aggressive?
Aggressive.
Reactionary is aggressive?
Reactionary, passive, sorry.
Okay, yes. So passive is reactionary. Aggressive is anticipation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna fill it out. Anticipate. Okay.
No problem.
So aggressive, right? Passive, reactionary, anticipate, right? So when we think of this balance, I want you to be. I want this to. This is a really important concept. When we think of like right in the middle, now it's not perfectly in the middle, but okay. So when we think of being right in the middle here, like this, right? What are we trying to do if we're right in the middle?
The middle is to cover both of them.
Yeah, we want to be able to anticipate their movement, but also be able to react to receive the ball, right? And so
Yeah.
whenever I think about being in the middle, I think about literally being in the middle. And what I mean by that is, where is Pele right now? He's almost directly in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So is he in a relatively good spot?
I think
Yes.
no, because
No, he is. He is. He's fine. He's fine.
he's fine. Yeah.
Him
Okay.
making this pass is relatively risky, given that he's in his own side. He's not going to make this pass
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now, there's going to be good players that are going to be able to get this pass through. This is one of those that would have like an animation break, and it depends on the player. So like, would Pele win it? Maybe. Right? Would R9 win it? Probably not. Right? Would Ronaldinho win this? Probably not. But would like a Jarzinho, maybe, because he has higher interception stats or whatever. Now, some reason R9 also has like crazy lock mechanics, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is this. When we get into a point where he is in a balanced position, that's when we release our player switch. Makes sense? So now that he's almost in the middle directly of that position, we can release that player switch to open here. Now,
Okay.
I want you to understand, when we're aggressive, there's going to be somebody open, right? And this is where we get into, remember the game theory of like 10v10? I don't count the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Until the goalkeeper's played, if they play the goalkeeper. But when we think about 10v10 and we think about how many attackers do we have pressing? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. How many defenders do they have? Well, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I guess they have 6, right? So it's 4v6. So there's 2 players open at all times for them. Now, what we'd like to do is make it to where these 2 players are open the entire time. Right? So if these 2 players are open the entire time, then what do we think? Now we have a chance. Now it's 4v4, right? So this is where you eliminate this is what I call a natural scenario. Now
2 players, 4x4. Yeah.
You've created balance on the tactical board. So our awareness is now up. So now we've increased our awareness position. What do we have to focus on now is speed and mind, right? So if we can continuously get them into a position where these players are not effective towards us, then all we have to do is focus on speed, realistically, and a little bit of mental, right? Because speed is going to be ultimately it. But the problem is, if we go too far on the anticipation side, we can get eliminated through mentality. And this is where high level players play. And this is there's a couple guys that I play against that are extremely high. I'm talking like 1200 SR players, 1100 SR players. Do you think they're more reactionary, or or they like to anticipate more?
Anticipate.
They're so heavy players. They're such heavy, right? Yeah. Because here's the thing: is when you get to play people that are like in the top 1%, they're fast. They're so fast. They are just so fast at the game that nobody can compete with them. But you play somebody like me, I'm pretty fast. Right? When I'm really playing, I'm pretty dang fast. But I would like to say speed's not my best skill set. I would say my tactical mind and my mentality is. And so, but like these kids these days can just do every single skill move in every direction. Now I can do a lot of it. Like if you really see my, but where I beat them is they get too far out here and I can completely crush them into like in this type of pressing situation, because all you have to do in this position is pause and then wait for them to maybe pull out here, and then you can just slot the pass in. Now, unless they hard set here, then you do this and you move them, and then you get a pass. And so that's where the game is really won. But what I'm trying to say is there's a reactionary step that's passive, and there's and we have to anticipate almost the entire time if we are pressing. So when you are getting pressed, what is your advantage? If you are getting pressed, where's the advantage?
My advantage is somewhere there is a gap that I can have a break point and attacked by this gap.
Gap, sure. So how do we get those gaps? How do we get those spaces on the tactical board? We win that through numbers, because typically the opponent isn't attacking you with 7 players. They're not pressing with 7 players until like the last like 5-10 minutes of the match. Like, they're not pressing you that way. Right? So they're usually pressing you with 4, just like you are, or 5, right? And so there's always going to be somebody open. And so when you're getting pressed, you need to be able to utilize these players into an attack position. And this is where 99% of players fail against a high-level press. If like you're div 3, div 4, typically what happens is I would make this pass here, and then I would let Patry run forward, right? Now, I don't think that you would have to do this, given I actually think that you have a lot to work on when it comes to pressing mechanics, and so you could just turn and rip this pass. That's what I see as a player. I just turn and rip this pass because of the spacing and the time and the rhythm of this play. And so what I'm trying to say to you, though, ultimately is as we get into a spot like this, we have to anticipate. We can't react. So if I am seeing Patry right here, okay, if I'm seeing Patry right here, and where do I think I would want to pass the ball? Right here. That's what I would think. So in that case, before she even gets there, I'm already wanting to get Ronaldinho there. And that's the difference. And so that's what makes the proper press. And so you see how they wait that long to make that play, right? So the thing about it is, how can we try to defend both spots? Because you are right. You have to be here, but you also have to be here. How can we effectively do that?
Player switching?
Player switching, right. But also there's I call it momentum player switching, right? So when you let go of a player switch, does the player just instantly stop right here? This is the pro mechanic. This is the pro concept. This is the idea. Does the player just stop in its tracks? Boom, stop. Or does it carry some distance?
Okay.
Does it carry? Does he continue to run a little bit, or does he just stop?
He will continue to run for one step as
exactly.
least.
Exactly. And that is the difference. And so you have to be able to manage their momentum as a manage of player switch. So a pro is going to turn its player switch off right perfect as the momentum changes. This is why understanding body types is so important. That's why people talk about body types at the highest level so much. Is because you need to be able to let go of the player switch and let it carry a little bit. Now, that's why lengthy always feels like the opponent's able to get ahead of you, is because, one, they're faster once they get up to top speed, but two, they take longer to actually turn or to stop. And so in a pressing scenario, you can actually let go of them earlier and get an earlier player switch, because they're going to carry a little bit further in distance, if that makes sense. They're going to go a little bit further. And so like right here, we should have switched. And so it's just a timing thing. So you hard set and you do a fine job staying to avoid that pass. You do a great job doing that, right? Because you're in a position where tactically you're in a good spot right here. You're fine. Then we open up the gap. And so that is a lesson on pressing. And so this video, you can always go back to. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clip it up to make it actually a short video today. I'm gonna, do the full session. That's not, but I'm gonna do it like it's just hot, like a video based on that. And so maybe we can just cover some pressing later in this video. But that's a concept that we haven't touched too much on. Are you following me? I know it's a really tough subject. I know it's a really.
I understand you. I understand you fully, but it needs training.
It is.
To
It is. Yeah.
implement this new concept of defending.
And so, what we've taught you is what, level 1, level 2, right?
Yeah.
So what we've taught is actually, let's do it like this. We've taught you to do this and that together, right? And then as this rotates down, we've taught this movement down like this. That's ultimately the movement that we have mastered. That's what it is. And if anybody's out there watching, I just did a video on perfect defense. Watch that video. It is just a few videos lessons back, but that's the algorithm kind of. That movement right there is like the ultimate defense. And it seems crazy, but that's it, right? You know what I mean? After understanding it, this is kind of the concept. But what ultimately we're doing when we're doing this is just simply doing exactly what I'm telling you on the press, but we're just manually holding down 3 non-moving positions. These positions relatively do not move, right? These gaps. Just imagine trying to defend these gaps the same, but they're moving. That, if you're following me. So like this gap is going to be a little bit different. Who's going to have to defend this gap right here?
I think Ronaldinho, yeah.
Ronaldinho. And then if this ball goes this way, where does it need to be?
I think Pelé.
It's going to be Ronaldinho again.
Again, okay.
Do you see that? And so as this play would go rotate this way, I would start changing my lane here. And so if he passes it back, it's right here. And the reason why is if I go with Pele, that opens this. And that's the difference. And so it's being able to read that position tactically, to understand that like it's no different than if I press with Matthias here, who does that open defensively?
Yes, this one.
Right. And so how does that open?
He will,
right?
Pass, yeah.
And so, but if I press, and I'm not saying that you can't press with the back defense. What I'm saying is if you press here, who has to defend this? And that...
No, it is dangerous.
What? Ooh. Shoop. Right?
Yeah.
And so then it's a break. This is actually how I press. So this is actually a strategy. I actually love coaching this. This is stuff I don't get into too much. Okay, so because how many times have you seen me press? And I'm like, you don't necessarily want to press too much because blah, 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 right? It's because it gets really, really, really complicated at like a really high level when you press. Okay? And what I mean by that, if I step here, he's going to step here. So I need to be able to adjust here. What happens if he passes back and then rips? Then it's a pressure backwards, right? So that's one scenario. Yeah. Now, what happens if some reason we break and they hold us and they pull us? And this is why pulling players. Now who has to step here? Right here and here. Instantly. Instantly. That's 2 ways to play. This is the aggressive way. Why would I step here and then switch here? This is where it gets a little bit tricky. It's really, really tricky. And so if you're practicing this, if you go home and Mustafa, after the session and you practice this movement, you're going to lose games doing this because it's okay. But down the road, it's something that you have to have in your arsenal. So I'm glad that we went over this today. I think you're ready though. I think you're at that level. But the idea is that you need to know. But what's the main concept? If you do this, you need to know you're playing aggressive. You need to know this. Because if you don't understand you're playing aggressive, you're not going to like be able to manage this location. This player switch isn't going to happen. What happens to lower players, when they be aggressive is instead of pulling and drawing this last back defender and playing one-on-one and like trying to basically step them, because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're playing chess here. And so the reason why I teach level 1, level 2, level 3 is because I create a puzzle defensively, right? I create a gambit. I create an algorithm for you to follow as a defender to where you can't get beaten mentally. You just know where your mistakes are, right? You just know where you have to be. But if we play outside of the puzzle, we have to have like a different moving puzzle. And the puzzle they are trying to solve, right? And so ultimately, this is more of a chess match now. So if you step here and then step here and they somehow get the ball through, well, then you're in a position where you're in a pretty good spot, right? Well, let's say this guy's gone. He's out here. We overstep. Now they play the ball. It looks like they pass it over here. They're attacking this lane right through here. You step here to intercept the pass. A lot of players will make that pass, and then you might get a win. So we have a chance to, this is what I call the wave defense. Have you heard me talk about the wave defense? Some people are good at it. Some people are bad at it. Usually players play this style of play more than they play my algorithm. But ultimately, the algorithm is significantly better and is in probability stake, right? But basically, what happens is they take a shot at you here, or you take a shot here, and then what's going to happen is you're going to try to take a shot here, but depending on time, will you be able to get there or not? So this is like chance number 1, tackle on ball. Chance number 2, cut it in between. Now, which way is more aggressive? This way or this way? 1 or 2?
The second one.
Right, 2. And so, or actually, sorry, 1 is actually more aggressive. And the reason why is this. Is it depends, and this is where a position can make a huge difference in like outcomes. Because can I take a chance at the ball here, or like let me clear this out. Can I take the same chance at the ball here as I can here? What's the difference between attacking?
One is better.
Why is 1 better than 2?
Because he will get a direct line with the CF.
But what happens if you overstep? Then he still can get you here. What I'm trying to say to you is this. It doesn't matter which way. What matters is how your opponent moves, right? But ultimately, 2 is going to be safer. And the reason why 2 is safer is because if he plays this, you can step here. You can cover both spots by taking 1 position. If you take a high position, then he opens up the secondary pass as well. So what I'm trying to say is when you are making pass pressure movements, this is the subtle data. Remember how I talk about data collection is so important. Data collection. This stuff is happening so fast, you're not always going to be able to think about this. But if you do, you significantly gain an advantage. If you are recognizing this, a lot of this type of stuff, the pros, they're playing this naturally. You can feel this type of stuff. So there's a lot of like Div 1 ranked 20-0 player, 15-0 players. Like before I started coaching, I did this naturally. I didn't think about this. Does that make sense? This is something that came naturally, but it's something that to coach someone, I have to like analyze it and explain it. And so a lot of people watch analysis and like this is crazy. But no, this is a natural thing that if you do it tactically and you do it like if you do it with thought process, you'll be able to master both spots. And so anyways, what I'm trying to say is when we get in a pressured scenario, I'm just trying to give you a scenario here. And so the idea is that you want to cut when you are moving your lines and moving your mids and your defenders, everything should be with trying to cover 2 spots with 1. That's the idea. And how many times have you ever heard me say, do not put 2 defenders in the same spot?
Yeah.
Right. It's the exact opposite. You are significantly more powerful if you can defend 2 people in 1. And the reason why is because when you get down to it, you get that 10-on-10 game, right? If you have 6 defenders on their 5 attackers, you have a 1-player advantage, right? But if you can defend 2 players, it's almost like having a 7, or it's like having 6 on 4. That's how I look at it. So tactically, you're getting an advantage tactically by being able to place yourself in the right position. But there's always a disadvantage. What happens if I stop here and they look like they're going to make a pass, and then I jump this lane? What can they do? Boom, straight to the striker, right? So then this is why. So if they pass the ball, if the ball is already released, I can take that position. So I can anticipate. The idea is that I'm going to anticipate what? The location of the play. Do you see this? I'm going to anticipate 1 versus 2, right? So 2 would be the ideal position, right? On this location. But then I'm going to react once the ball is played. I can't over anticipate. Because if I take a step before this play is made, they can just turn and rip a pass. And this is how I beat players, and this is how the best players in the world play. They play this tiny movement, and I like to say I'm not that good at the game. I just know how to get people to be bad at the game. You see what I mean? Like, I just know how to get people to do something dumb. And like an example, let me see if I can get an example here. I'm just going to probably let him pull, and you see I just wait for it. Like, this is an elite match. This is the 2v2. I'm 2-on-2, or it's 2. I mean, he's a good player. And I get him to do what? I get him to just take his player and I just turn and make the pass. Make it look really easy. And the reason why I make it look easy is because it's doing what we're doing right here. What I'm talking about. I get him to do that. I just turn in a circle, right? This is, again, the same guy. Gameplay. Wait for him. I just turn and shoot. It's not like the most... Like, it's not... My gameplay is extremely complicated in the idea that I'm essentially getting you to do stuff that you don't want to do. Like, just getting these guys to step every single time, right? That's kind of the idea, is get them into a position. So that's actually a really heavy step. Let's see here. Give him the step, pull him up, and then that's that. Boop. Right? And so I guess what I'm trying to say here is, as a defender, how can we avoid getting manipulated? And doing exactly what we do is, let me ask you a question. Why did I talk about these positions right here? Now do you see what I'm saying? Here's the crosshair. And so which is the exact position on the crosshair? That 2 spot. So everything I've been teaching you based off of those subtle, and you can see that's like the higher level version of it. Okay. So when I talk about crosshairs, when we press, and I like to say this, is every position has a crosshair. Every single player has a crosshair. And our goal is trying to manage the position in between every single crosshair in the best possible way. So it's like, if that's, and just because this is a scenario that we've seen, right? Or we just showed, you'll be able to see now where's the position best to be. Right in the middle, right here, right? Yeah. Or it's going to be like right here. And so what's the difference between being here and being here?
For the first one, you can, passive and aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, so this is just more aggressive. And so when I say the object is not to win the ball back, which one am I going to play? Passive. When the object is to win the ball back, which one am I taking? I'm taking a chance risk. I'm going to take a chance here to win the ball. I'm going to take a chance here to win the ball. I'm going to try to take the chance back again because they're going to try to rotate, maybe go back and forth with this and win the ball. So I'm trying to take chances here. And so ultimately, though, when it comes to it, you can avoid all this BS by doing what? So why have I been coaching you passively? Because this game right here, way more complex to coach somebody to get to up level than this. But now we're getting into that, and so now it's going to be it's more mental at this stage, if that makes sense. But okay, so but yeah, exactly. So you see how. See, we step. Look at this. Here's the press. He steps and he turns and he makes this pass. But the difference is, what you're going to see in high level play is you're actually going to see this. You're going to see an early player switch, and this guy's going to step right here, but he's not going to break. And I'm okay with that. If you defend that way, I'm also okay with this movement right here. And so, anyways, that's a lot of information, and that's a tough. Oh yeah, your offense is fluid now. Your offense is very fluid. I love seeing it. Do you feel like you have issues on offense now?
Yeah, I still there is a problem when the opponent player praised me. I cannot smoothly turn and get the right angle for the pass. Still struggling with this point.
Like this right here?
No. When he pressed me, how can I make a turn and make a pass to my forward or my...
Yeah. Okay. That's what I call the golden rule. It's the golden play. Yeah. That's what I call it. And the reason why is what you're going to do is you want to pull this guy out, and then we need to shimmy, and then pass the ball into another player that's making a run through, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's more about timing, because do we have anybody running with us right now?
No.
So we don't have an opportunity. Now do we have potentially an opportunity? Maybe. But the problem is what?
Now, yeah.
What's the problem? Why is it looking to be harder?
Time here is a problem.
A little bit, not as much. He's drawing back, so you could probably turn at him. But what I'm trying to say is he's going backwards. He's not going this way. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And so when they go back, which way do we go? We go at them.
Yeah.
So this
by the way, sorry, a question here.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine.
The shimmy move. What's the move that you
this is where it gets a little complicated. This is where I like to give you guys. So I know, Mustafa, you don't like a lot of skill moves, but there's a lot of guys that come in and they know every single skill move. One of my original one of the first guys I ever coached. He's about nearing. He's in his 40s, but like he knew every single skill move possible in this game. But he was Division 7, right? And so he knew every single skill move. I'm not kidding. He just learned. He basically went through and learned every single skill move possible. He was very mechanically efficient. Now he's one of the best players in India. So he was Division 7 when we met him. Now he's like one of the top 5 in India or something like that, playing in pro tournaments. He's awesome. And Praful, if you're out there, he's just awesome. But anyways, he played extremely mechanical. I'm like, bro, you don't have to do that. You just turn and pass. He's like, oh. But the thing about it is he knew the mechanics to be able to get those angles. So like once I taught him the tactical side, he just flew up the ranks. He just flew, right? Because he knew the mechanics. And so we have to do a little bit of mechanics. And so, but what I did with him is I didn't teach him mechanics to get to that spot, right? And so I want you to find what skill moves you like the best. Now, me personally, my favorite skill move is going to be actually the McGeady cancel. So if you can McGeady cancel, you can pretty much get into every space. So like if I'm going to get somebody on me like this, what I can do is I can McGeady cancel in every direction. I'm not doing it right. Oh my gosh. Well, I can McGeady cancel in every direction. Oh my gosh. In every single direction, right? And then I can essentially get into space. So if I can drag a defender toward, I'm just going to try to get him towards me. If I can drag him towards me, then it's like all I have to do is do like a little feint. Like a lot of the times, all the little movement is that. Because when you're defending, if you just do like, excuse me, if you do a little feint to the left, what is he doing typically? He's going like this. Okay?
Yeah. Mirroring you, yeah.
Think of it as a dance, right? And the dance is all about he's behind you, right? Now he's in front of you, right? And so he's going back. Which way are we going? Forward.
Forward,
right?
yeah.
He goes forward.
Going back.
We go back. That's the dance, right? And then there's another dance, though. It's the side-to-side movement. So it's kind of going forward and backwards at the same time and dancing, right? So you're dancing side to side like this, right? And so what's going to happen is when you're a defender, you want them to dance with you. You want to be in the rhythm, right? You want that to happen. But when you're attacking, you want him up here. You want him like this, right? Like you get away from me. Get away, bro. right? So if you can get him to shift this way while you're shifting this way, that's the idea. So how can we make him feel that he's in rhythm with us?
To mirror his movement and then break.
Exactly. If you go boom, 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 right? But what's the problem of doing it like this?
This is far away from him.
Well, not necessarily far away. What? Don't worry about the distance because I want you to think of it being like this tight. I want you to think about the location being like this, right? He's on your butt. The problem is speed, right? Because he can essentially, once he gets really close, is he can step this way and almost step on you, and then you can turn the other way and he can get to this spot, right? What you're really looking for is him to just take a too far of a step like that and break the crosshair, right? And so same thing with defense, but it's the same opposite, right? So the second he breaks that crosshair, that's when we attack. The challenge is to break the crosshair. That's what I want you to understand. It's simply the challenge to break the crosshair. And the challenge is efficiency. And so what I've tried to teach, I think we've gone over this, but when we dribble in a circle, that left stick, the tighter we go, right? The slower and tighter it is, the faster it turns, right? So if I go, you can see how tight that movement, and see how I get that little dribble animation. If I go slow dribble, I'm not even doing it right. But basically, you can see what I'm trying to say, right? Here, like that. You see that movement? That's a really tough animation to get. And so you can do it on both sides, but the animation set is speed of play, right? So if I go too fast, I can go right into them, right? If I go too slow, type of thing. But what I'm trying to say is, if you dribble this way and you're kind of dribbling like this, are we giving him a point to try to take a commitment to?
Okay.
We're not giving him a commitment. So what happens if I dribble like that? He's going to try to commit, right? He's going to try to commit. So the trick is to like ball roll into the space and then cut out of it. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get like, right as you hit that ball roll, right as you hit the ball roll to this spot, he might commit there. And then you step this way, and then he might try to step this way. And then that's where you get the break. You see what I'm trying to say? So like that's kind of the idea. And so like let me see if I can get you an example. So like you see how I give him the step, and then that's where the play is. And so it's not that I did like any skill move in this scenario. It's just that what I did is I kind of baited him. I didn't even have to bait him that. That's more of even a static movement. It's just me waiting for him, right? Let's see if I can show you just mechanics. So there, I'm waiting. I just wait for an angle. He's stepping. So let's see here. Oh, this is that run through, isn't it? I got 3 angles. Wait for him to jump. That's me baiting him. If you look at that really closely, this is me baiting him. So right here, I dribble towards him, up, dribble down, up. You see, I'm kind of baiting him. Let's see this one. There's a little bit of bait and turn. You see, that's the bait. That's the example right here. This is it. This is perfect example. I see with Cole Palmer.
You use left stick dribbling only.
Yeah, I think this is all left stick. Which clip? This is 4. Let me just zoom in for you. Yep, left stick, and I just tapped L1 to send the player through. This is all left stick. And so if you can learn mechanics to do this stuff, by all means, that's better. And so like I haven't been playing anywhere near as much as I would if I was trying to like go pro right now. Or I would be utilizing skill canceling in this scenario, right? Instead of just left stick, but left stick usually can do it. But if you look at this, you can see the left stick angle right there. You see how it's just, you see how I break my angle right there? That's the bait. I break that angle and then I cut back on it. And so that little moment, that little teeny moment is where I'm taking risk to move him right there. Boom. And so you'll see it as, let me see if this is one. It's more of a timing thing. I was waiting for him to come back. Oh, this is a sombrero flick. So like this is an example because I mean, I don't like to teach this. I don't like to teach this one, but basically when you get into a scenario where the center back's coming directly at you, like this is this is exactly what we're talking about though, right? I can hit a sombrero flick. He came on my inside shoulder and the sombrero I knew was on his right foot, so it came on the other side. But like that's but still the root, the idea and the concept is right here. I have to bait him just a little bit, just a wee bit. There's a fake. Here's an example of like breaking a pressure, because where does he have to go? Actually, from earlier, what is he? He's in a good spot now, right?
Yeah.
So where is he anticipating me to defend? He needs to defend the wing. So I fake. That gets in the jump, and then we go right behind him. And so, but there's that little flick over the top.
By the way, you sent me before fake shop stop to pull the CB out, and if you remember, the video was not opening. You said in the next session I will show you.
Yeah.
something.
Let me pull that up. Oh, this is a great clip. Just like that. So it's
fake
like
shop stop.
Yeah, it's just fake shot, and then let go of the controller. Boom. But if you look at it, he really jumps, right? Like that, and breaks.
Yeah.
And it looks, you see how he has the angle on me? I take an avoidant touch, and then it looks like I'm going to stop and cut back, and then I get him. And that's me breaking the crosshair, right? And so that's essentially what I'm actually trying to show in these other clips here is like the same concept. Is everything is a balance of like breaking a crosshair. So like these are micro crosshairs. There it is. I'm just trying to bait him a little bit, and then I get a tight angle. And so like right here, I'm trying to get him to think that I'm in a quick step. And so I'm trying to get two defenders in one, but you see how the Palmer isn't in the right spot. So this is an example. So it's like right here, two defenders in one spot. Perfect. Let's pull him down a little bit. Now, if Palmer was running into the space, bull, right?
Yeah.
That's an AI thing. That's not a me. It's a timing thing though, right? And so I have to adjust to that. So then I go, okay, I'm going to go right back. And then I try to get him into the lane. He defends it. He goes for some bait. He goes for it again. Now he's in 2 defenders in one spot. I drag him down, and then I see the angle, and I actually take that because this is the reason why I did this is because, one, Dembele oddly has ping pass. So the ping pass is very effective mechanic RNG variables. Chukwuemeka is cutting on the inside. He's going towards me. He's not going towards the ball. And I take a chance. But ultimately, he basically it was timing, right? So like right here's a timing thing. Wait for him. Timing. There's a cut. Ooh. Break his and so does he think? What does he think? Does he think I'm gonna shoot with Sakina Karchawi? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the advantage I had in my mind. My advantage is look at this attacking highway.
Yeah.
He thinks he has a lot rock hard defense there. And so I just go whoop. And that breaks his crosshair. And so if you can on the attacking side, let's try to get just through some of these clips. I know we just hit our time, but like let's try to get through just a couple of these for us. Because I think we covered a lot on press. So like this, dude, I mean, like, I don't think you're not scoring because of your ability to get into the ball. Get this. Look at it. You're doing that. You did exactly what we just did. But what did we do right here?
Yeah, go to the space and then shot. Or pass, yeah.
Boom. Beep. And I make those same mistakes, but ultimately, I mean, as a coach, I get to analyze it, right? so it's sometimes an unfair advantage. Good. So now we've got the break. I hate playing Teo because his ability to cover is insane. This is great play though. Your possession. So now your possession used to have no purpose. Now you have purpose, and I love seeing it. Ooh. Center back though. But he managed possession very well. And so it ended up becoming no purpose. You see how but you're doing a great job. Look at this. You're putting like all of these guys in the same spot. You know how hard that is to defend if you can get this through? Really tough.
Yeah.
This is great. This is good. And so I think your finishing will improve by naturally playing if you can focus on breaking crosshairs. And like what I want you to master is the McGeady cancel. Okay.
I try to do this, but it is hard to master.
I understand. But there's a difference between trying and doing, right? As Yoda once said.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a difference between you're an architect, right? And so when you have to go through so much school in architecture. When you learn something first, it's way different, right? It's way different than mastering it, knowing it later, right? Now you can probably go through some of the calculations in the back of your head because you've done them so many times, and that's mastery. And so just because you're learning something new doesn't mean that I want you to master it, though. Master just the McGeady cancel. I would rather you spend time mastering one skill move, mastering it, knowing every single itty-bitty thing. Because if you do this skill move, if you do the McGeady cancel, if you go backwards to front, there's different animations for all of them, right? So it's like if I'm going like in different angles. And so I don't even know if I've mastered it, but there's even weird animations against different body types. That's what mastery is, right? Being really good at a skill move is way different than mastering it, right? It's just so like you see how it breaks, and that's why some players are so good. They break the game. Ultimately, that's what they do. They just break the game. Let me see if he did get a goal here.
I think in the second half.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah. There's a break point straight to the striker. Turn, rotate, get him on the break, and you get a goal. Do we give one up? Me, it looks like you're gonna win this. Oh, he's pressing now. Now we break. My uh just killed our momentum here. Okay, this is where I want you to try to do now. Just let these guys run through and don't make this pass.
Okay.
I want you to dribble into like one of these lanes and turn. Try to hit a pass. This will be like the way, like this. If you follow me, because then you can.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to help your timing there, because you're doing the right things. Your timing's just a little bit off. This is great. Look at this. What are you talking about? I really don't think you're having a huge issue on. Look at this. And you rip, you're just missing the shot. Practice fast shots. I've taught you about this, right?
Yeah. I'm doing it 10 minutes per day, as you mentioned
Is
before.
that what you're doing? Okay. If you do it like, and really practice green times too, if you can while you're doing it. That's gonna really like your finishing's gonna like really get up there. But you had like what 6 chances here? We just didn't finish, right? And so
Yeah.
You did not barely win this game by luck. You barely won this game because you're practicing precision shooting. You realize this, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Because attacking, you dominated. Defensively, you dominated. Now we're stepping into pressing, which is usually a pressing. Being able to coach pressing is usually a luxury, is what I say. It's a luxury. It's not a. It's like you once you understand and build your defense, then we can press. I don't teach pressing until we understand. Yeah, I mean, Mustafa, you're doing great. I think you focus on precision shooting, focus on some of the techniques that we talked about in pressing today, and then focus on really getting micro movements, those micro crosshair positions mechanically, and mastering McGeady cancel. So do this, because I think precision shooting, you're getting there. Spend 5 minutes on precision shooting, 5 minutes on McGeady cancel every single day. I want you to hit the McGeady cancel 1,000 times before you play a game. You know, that takes about 5-10 minutes, right? Because how many can you do in a second? You know, like how many of these can we do in a minute? Like 1, right? 2, 3, right? You can just do like 10, right? But what happens? So here's an example of mastery. So what happens is this chaining mechanic. So as I do 2, you can see how the ball kind of bounces away and I make mistakes. And so I want you to master it. And so what I want you to do is this. This is how I want you to master it. Go to the middle of the field. Go to the middle of the field, and I want you to do this. I want you to tell yourself, I want to do a McGeady cancel back to front. Back. That's back. Back to front. Right? And I want you to do every single direction of the McGeady cancel. And I just want you to master going back to front. That's what you do the first time. That's what you do the first day. So after this session, I want you to do it 5 minutes. Go boom, boom. And then go back to the center. And it's actually easier if you just like do that. But if you go back, boom. And then you just keep doing this. Whoop. Go back, boom. Right? And you just keep doing it. 1, 2. Whoop. 1, 2. 1, 2. Keep doing that. But then the next day, what do? Backwards. Backwards. Right? Backwards. But then you spend just a couple minutes, or you just use like 30 seconds, and you just make sure that you don't forget the rhythm. And then what happens? And we're going to do it sideways, right? Then we're going to do the other side. But then on like the 5th, 6th day, then what I want you to do is forward. Then I want you to do backwards. Then I want you to do, whoop, that's a weird cut angle, isn't it? does that weird but now I'm messing up because I'm going the other way. So you go, oh my gosh. One. These animations really are back, whoop, sideways. And see, I haven't mastered it. You can see because I'm thinking, right? You can see how hard I'm thinking. Like, can I do it? I can, but I'm thinking, right? So if I'm in a pro mat, if I'm playing a top 1% player and I'm having to do a McGeady, and I actually teach this. When players are going this way, they are more likely to skill against you versus going this way. And the reason why is they're practicing the practice arena, the skill moves. They have probably done like 1,000 times more going this way than the other. And so they're not practiced going this way as much. Anyways, it's just a kind of a fun thought to think. There's some players that are pretty good at it, so it's not like it's like a crutch or anything. But yeah, so like, anyways, you understand what I'm trying to say. Mastery.
Yeah.
Mastery.
Yeah,
Mastery,
yeah.
mastery, mastery.
Okay.
But Moose Folk,
Okay.
great session, as always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
And
much.
you can always reach out anytime, as you always know, and I look forward to talking to you and hearing how your weekend league goes. Good luck.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Happy New Year, friend.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a nice one. Bye. Bye.
That's it for today's session. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, check me out below, Medify.gg, if you want your own private coaching session. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next episode.